I may post this, I may not. So this is the last day before I basically set my album to be distributed. So I want to say some things before I make the actual video that you're currently watching. 2 different days. Um, I just wanted to really talk about how I've been feeling. It's been a lot like when I was working in the boutique, if you remember, when I was crying a lot and it was really busy and the energy and things were not well. I feel like anytime that I get like alone time, real alone time for myself, that's when all of the darkest energies are just going through the most, and I'm literally just trying to exist correctly. I mentioned before that I was recovering from not being able to eat correctly, and I don't remember if I told you that I was also recovering from a some type of a cold. It wasn't I don't even know what a cold is anymore because I've grown up not getting sick, but only having allergy symptoms when it was time to have allergy symptoms. And then, everything can be linked to everything. So I always know why something's happening or when something is happening, but I wouldn't be able to give it like a diagnosis type of thing, like, oh, it's the flu or it's the cold or, COVID. I don't know. Like, it wouldn't be one of those things. It never has been one of those things. For me, it's like a reoccurring spiritual situation that I have to look into when it's time to look into it. No matter how prepared I am, up until a certain point, that is always something I have to I'm like, dang, I'm glad I was prepared. I'm glad that I did the best that I could before this came around. Think of it as a Saturn return, which is completely different, but think of it as a Saturn return, which it is something that will happen when it is time for it to happen. And it's more of a karmic cycle rather than a logical cycle, even though both of those are very the same. Um, so that was all to just say that this album, I want. It's funny because you hear artists say it all the time. I didn't know if this album was gonna come out. I didn't know if I wanted to do it anymore or anything. I didn't know if I could do it. To me, it's not like if I could do it. So I wanted to leave that part out. But because I don't have to do it, what are my reasons for doing it? Why am I putting this out? Is It was always a back burner idea to do such a thing. And so then it finally became a front burner, turn the stove on hot, like high type thing. Like it was just like all of a sudden it was a bigger deal. But throughout the years, it was me just having that complete thought like, oh, what about an album? Okay, we'll get to that at some point. At some point when we get to it, when I started going into the studio, I didn't actually plan on releasing music, um, like this. So you can hear that in the way that I tell you guys about it too. I'm like, I released some music and blah blah. That was this what I do already. I've been releasing music, but I did want to get paid for it. So it was different in order to get different results, but it's the same type of viewpoint. And I did want it like this, but I didn't have the answers. I didn't know the answers. And when I looked up the answers, because I've been in this game for a cool minute now, I don't care what anybody knows about me, I've been here. But that being said, being here or not, there are still so many things in this world where I'm like, I've been looking for this information for as long as I can think about looking for information. And I've always been a type of kid that's always been like, all right, I'm paying attention to this information. So I just didn't know how to directly put out music because you don't hear people do that. You don't hear people do that. I don't care how much you see on social media, how much of a big deal it is that people are making music and stuff like that now. But as a millennial, personally, in my life, I feel that if I had this information, and I don't know how long many distribution companies have been along and whatnot, but when it comes down to not knowing exactly like what to do with your music when you make it, it's like, all right, well, I could do this and pay a fee, or I can get a record label and, have somebody sign me or something. And then, I can get money and spend that money on things. And then, I'll make it back and blah, blah, blah. Like you get trapped. And I don't think I don't think everybody gets trapped, but you know, it's not good to look at things and be like, yeah, I want to be like that person. If that person isn't really telling you like the stuff that you really should know. And what is that? That's important for you to know what's important. You got to know where your focus is and what your priorities are and what you're paying attention to. So for me personally, I don't want to have to deal with things I don't want to because there's no reason to. But should those things find me, I'm glad I made a simple path for myself. And, in that way, I'm sure that I will learn more things. But at the same time, my major priority right now has not been about, oh, I'm wondering if it's going to get put out there or if people are going to listen to it or people are going to buy it and whatnot like that. I am expecting such things. However, it's not something that I have to worry about because I can simply just focus on not only making the music, but also why. What am I doing here? What is my purpose? A lot of the music I've made, um, throughout all of this time, I used to have a lot to say. That has a lot to do with the videos that I put up too. My life is my life. This is the whole reason I'm here. And it has changed because it has been elaborated upon and it has become quite minuscule at the same freaking time. All at the same time. All at the same time. So it really is something that, like, I don't really need to do this, but I felt and wanted to do it. But it was something that I feel like more the I was gonna say the creation, the universe, but we're all in this together, including you, if anything. But we already had a plan, like you're gonna put it out anyway. Does not matter. Does not matter. Because what I'm gonna do with all this happiness if I ain't got nothing to do with it? And that also does bring me to other points in my life. However, it's not something that needs to be said to people that didn't do anything about it. And yeah, so we're gonna go back to the albums. I right, the I I was like, I want to put this out, but at the same time, I immediately got triggered when I thought about it in a different way. Like, I forgot what it was because I feel like I've taken a deep breath and really calmed down. I swear, I really do live worry free, but it is really funny to me how things can worry me and like what types of things worry me. And like, even after I've fixed said issues, like I even have the next steps, whatnot, I still have this feeling of anxiety that I could have excessively if I were to be ungrounded and keep it that way. So I'm also aware that this is a very powerful, pivotal point in my life as well, especially because I've been through this energetic turmoil before. So it is actually a lot more peaceful. People are a lot more kinder to me as well. Every time I leave the door, um, I am, greeted with happy, positive energy. And I take it for what it is because it's always different. There's always every day there's always an energetic change of sorts and stuff because I tell you all the time I'm always growing, but it's really different when people start being consistent on that energy and bringing it to me rather than it just being given to someone else, which is nice, but then like no regard for me or my feelings whatsoever should we make an like an interaction? Should we have one? And it's funny how no matter how much someone can feel a pull of soulmate towards you, because like I said, I'm everyone's in different ways. I'm not gonna re-explain that because that's not what this video is about, technically speaking. But it's funny how no matter what is happening there, you can always end up hurting someone just because you're not ready to be loved. So it really has been a trouble walking through the lands in general. And then people are wondering why they feel rejected, let alone are rejected by me. And it's just really interesting thinking about how that's not even important, really, is it? You know? Put it into perspective. And I know that you have the ability to. I really want you to enjoy this album. The hardest part about this was the lyrics, writing the lyrics. Not writing the lyrics, but like writing the lyrics. I want you to understand as much as possible what I'm saying, because when I was making the songs, I was making the songs based on the energy. Period. Like the message is what the message is, but I felt like at some point it's just difficult for me to put out stuff because in the end, like what it doesn't matter. It does and it doesn't. It doesn't matter, so it matters the most because it doesn't matter. Because if it didn't matter, you would end up like everybody else where it doesn't matter and life is clearly not treating them well because they don't care and it doesn't matter. And wishy-washy people don't always fall into that category either. Some of the most devoted people will go down that path and it's like it doesn't matter, and they are neglecting a certain part of their world. You have to face a certain part and then fix it, and then you can't see my hand, so I'm going to stop doing that. But you have to face a certain part of your world, fix it, and then, move on to the next part. And then once things start moving in a circle, you have to move with it. And that's what I've done. And it may not have looked like that with other people, but that's because they didn't do that in their lives, in their worlds, in their respective realities as well. So they changed their path. That's how it happens. So for me personally, when I'm like, okay, I'm going to do my best, but I really don't want to do this because the words I'm singing on here, they came from the heart, came from the soul, came from the experience, came from the energy. I put them on here. But like, I'm just whining like a little bitch over here. Like, oh, save me. Like, I don't know. I didn't say those words yet. But, I may have. Shoot, I done released some things. You know what I'm talking about. All of it is me crying. Like, such a happy person, but like, literally all my songs, I'm like, I'm gonna die. Like, anyway. But that being said, this album is one of many that I will always be putting out on my time when I feel like doing so, and they will always have meaning. So once you get a hold of the first one, make sure you keep track of what I be dropping now that I have a direct line to dropping it. I do not know if I will be dropping too many songs on BandLab after this. But I've also thought that I want to keep it open for what I want to keep open. Like, I wouldn't close it because that'd be stupid. And especially because I make my music on there. But specifically, I have a lot of ideas and I have a lot of eras that we have to go through before we even get to a lot of the things I want to do. But then there's certain things that I want to do. And I don't want to spoil it by telling you too much. I'm surprised that we're even telling you this. I don't know. But this is happening after everything is released anyway, so and that's why I'm recording it right now. I want you to know now how I feel now, and then I'll record another one, and that's the one that you're gonna be watching after this. I don't know how much I'm gonna talk right now because I wasn't planning on talking a lot. Excuse me. So, in honor of my first release, I'm recovering from life, and uh, I can't stop dancing either or singing. I don't know if this is a neurodivergent thing, but this has always been me. Like whenever, and I know that part of it is like it's a human thing as well because oh my god, this is something I like finding out things about the body. Yeah, I like feeling how I shouldn't say this certain this the things I was about to say, but I'm sure that I will end up saying it at some point, but not right now. But in general, I do test certain parts of my body, like how I'm gonna do it, and so that did not work. So what was I gonna say? Oh, oh, okay. So basically, I was gonna say that I couldn't stop singing, I couldn't stop dancing, right? Um, and I really don't know what the difference between ADHD and ADD are, and I won't diffuse that I have either one of them because I know too many people that have definitely had it or have it, blah blah blah. But I don't know those people in my day right now. However, that being said, I'm like I know too much about it to know that this is probably part of the issue or has caused the issue. Whatever, whatever. So like I'll get energy back, I'll restore my energy and I would use it immediately on something that I should be doing because that's what I'm going to do. However, you know, do you have to do it at the moment? Can you rest for a couple more frames? In my reality, can I rest for a little bit more? Like, is it gonna help me? But it's like, what do you do with those frames? Because it could turn into something else, and then you have a cycle, and you come back. I'm not even gonna stop right now. Anyway, but when it came to this, I was like lightheaded. I need to sit down, but I was trying not to get like that. And it used to not be like such a big issue, but like since I'm dealing with keeping food in and um emotional rest. Yeah, it's not unrest. I feel like that was more the last time that I was talking about, like when I was working with LA. But like this one was like emotional rest. Like I should be good, but where is this energy coming from that like there's more like disturbance happening when there should be peace? And this is actually something I've been feeling for a while because before all of this transitioning actually really started happening physically for me, like physically, um, I was thinking about how, because I'm very in tune with the earth, especially when it comes to how people are feeling. And I was just like, why is everybody so angry today? Because they're supposed to be extremely peaceful, actually. And I know that when it is supposed to be like this is when the people that are affected the most by that energy change, they start like really, I wanted to say goofing up and going after it, but in reality, this is more of like it is a greater purge. But the human side of me is always asking why. And I'm just like, bro, you already know why. And I even set this up because, like I said, I ain't waiting for nobody. I don't remember what else I really wanted to talk about. I really wanted to talk about how just like in general, if you're gonna make an album, if you're gonna make anything, find out how important it is to you to do so. I can't even watch like card readings right now because my energy is too sensitive. So I ended up watching I'm gonna say the Terrell show because this is the thing that I watched. However, mainly I've been able to watch more things that have people like humans, people, damn it. Anyway, it has people, humans, um, functioning in their highest vibrational categories, basically on camera. So I'm able to receive that and be happy with it. Except normally, I would be also receiving all of their shadow as well, and it would be quite different. It would hit different on a normal day. So normally, I don't watch the Terrell show anymore. I won't elaborate on that because that's a totally different topic, and I fully support his show. So don't even think that it's not because I don't like it or I don't support it. I do. But there are different reasons for it. And I'm going to move forward because that's not the main point. But the main point of it was like my whole being, I had to take in energy and media that was good for me rather than something that would make me want to throw up and cry about it for no reason. Absolutely no reason. No reason. Or like my card readings, they're talking about other people more than they're talking about me, or they're more talking about my shadow side and what I need to do to help and do that and stuff like that. But I'm like, we're not there. They're talking more about people that are started on their journey, and normally that information can still help and whatnot. But like, if I'm not there, the way you're talking to me is not going to help me because it's something that I'm already past. But should I want to come back and learn or soak it in, or you're saying it the right way to me in that time, then that's a completely different story. But that's not where I was with this. And it depends on like certain readers as well. So, and this is all while I'm um, upset about not being able to use my internet the way that I want to in this room that I'm in right now because it has Wi-Fi here, but it's not working to the best of its ability. And I think it's because of the building on the outside. It's made with, I don't know if anything's ever really made out of brick anymore when it comes to like places that you see, but like as opposed to places you don't see. Um, there's just a lot of fake things in this world, but it could be plaster. I don't know, shit. I've been going through a lot of things, and so basically, I think that the signal is being blocked, and so I had to leave and go and even get a computer to get things done and type out all the lyrics and stuff like that. But in order to leave, that means I would have to go outside and catch the bus, which I can check when the bus is, running or not, or I can check, but sometimes it's an hour. And these are all neurodivergent, introvert type, I don't want to leave the house type. What is that? Agoraphobia? No, that's wrong. That's agno. Don't it start with an A? Phobia. There we go. So one of those things is because I remembered in the past how much I did not dislike leaving the house. I would not say I ever feared leaving the house, but it is such an energetic change when I leave the house that I always have to feel like I'm having the utmost of priority and happiness and good reason to be leaving or even setting foot outside the door of where I'm at. And I'm just like that. I've always been like that. And even though I live outside or have lived outside, all of these things, I've always been like that. That's why I don't talk to nobody because I'm just existing. If you have something to talk about with me, come correct because other than that, I'm going to walk right past you. And I just didn't want to go outside. Like I had to stretch out the time. I wanted to also put the album in on time so it can be on time. And then all of this was just being like, all right, this is stressing me out, but it's stressing me out because I have to leave the house. Period. It's stressing me out because I have to leave. It's stressing me out because I know other people that know me are going to see me and their energetic ideas about the situation are going to view and see me. And there are people that are not as privy to how people feel about them and their emotions and their energies, but I'm not the same type of person that that person is simply because I am aware and feel that it has always been present, which is why I fought so hard for my freedom to begin with, because I could always energetically tell when someone was trying to keep me small. And I didn't know necessarily that it was them keeping me small. I just knew when I was close to other people that I didn't want to be next to, period. That was it. Like, it would be that energy, and it wouldn't be me saying I don't want to be around that person or whatnot. It was that energy that was surrounding the area, but not just surrounding the area, just surrounding me and trying to keep me in that energy. And I didn't want to be around that person anymore. So when I leave the house and I'm going to a world of people that don't want me here in general, it's like, well, you can't hate me, you know? And so then they're just gonna stare and stare and stare. And oh, you bet the monitoring spirits be here. I was at another room, and it's not even really close to here, but I'm trying to stay in the area that I would like. Well, not really. There's not really a plan to what I'm doing besides what I do. But the main point was get the album out, even though there's more to it, but why should I share that at the moment? However, main point is I was about to take the bus at this other motel that I was at. No, it was a hotel. I was at another place, and I was about to take the bus, and it was around 7ish or so. It was nighttime at this point, but it wasn't like late at night. Although, no, it wasn't that late. It wasn't that late, but it was dark, and so my point is, when did you see me? How do you know it's me? Other than the obvious facts about stuff at nighttime, when certain people find you or find me, I'm like, you were looking, you were paying attention, you were monitoring. Something is going down here. Like, I don't care if I take it out of context or I don't. Like, I always note that something was off. Off. And he's like, hello, pretty quiet lady. Like, he was saying it like, I see you. Like, you're not hiding from anyone. Like, I recognize you. Like, if you out here to start tricking and hoeing and stuff, I'm looking right at you. I feel like that's really the vibe a lot of the time. A lot of the people that I've met in this lifetime, they really don't like that I'm not, they have not been happy with the actual facts of, all right, like, I'm good, And most of the time, if I'm actually in something with somebody, that's not even the case. Like, I'm doing what I'm doing, what we're going to do. That's a different story. However, when it comes to how I portray myself, how I've told everybody about who I am, and how I've done things whatsoever with this situation, like, they really be thinking like you about to get something, but it's like, nah, I told you what it was. And then they be putting me on blast, and I'm like, but you're putting yourself on blast. And they're like, dead ass, you're right. And I'm like, are we done here? Like, a lot of people are mad that I'm not a prostitute, but happy. Is this a thumb? Yes. Okay. So, and then there are some stories that I could tell you, but honestly, they're not worth my time. But they were examples made of, and that's perfectly fine. But so maybe I might use them. None of these stories are bad, but I'm probably gonna delete this video, to be honest. I just needed to get it out. All right, I'm gonna delete it now. I'm looking too good to delete this video, so I'm going to use it. What else was I gonna say though? I feel like I should finish it since I done watched it now. Did I miss any points? It was pretty fluid. I believe, to wrap the whole thing up for this first part of the video, is that if you're gonna make an album, make sure it is more self-focused rather than just trying to, is that a booger? Rather than just trying to share it with everybody about what you got to say and whatnot. It's good to have your own personal reasons about it though. So if that's one of them, then go on ahead. But also have plans past that. And what does that mean? Live in your idea, live in your dream, live in your your conquest and, view it from inside. Where are you taking this? What did you want to do with it to begin with? When you were a kid, what were your main thoughts? This is something I might not remember to talk about when I make the other half of this video. When I was a kid, I did not care about being famous or celebrity. Like I said, my main job when I was younger, I wanted to be a sorceress. That has always been my that those are my core memories, to be honest. Like, that dream where you flip the light switch on with your finger, but it didn't work when you woke up, type of thing. Or when you're in the shower and you're letting the water run down your arm to specific fingers, to direct the water somewhere. When you start dancing with that when you're in the water, like, bro, waterbending's not my favorite, but now it is. It's one of my all of them, but it wasn't my favorite. Firebending was my favorite, which is why I called myself a pyrotechno. But I would not say that I'm not. I would just say that I am able to feel emotions for the element of fire in ways that I believe that it is important that one should feel if they are going to say that they love elements so much that they want to do stuff with it. And connecting with it makes it a lot easier for it to connect with you. Be friends with your elements. Yeah. Anyway, I wanted to be a sorceress when I was younger. I didn't care about all this firefighter stuff, but that is what I wrote for my kindergarten. What do you want to be when you grow up? Anyway, so when music started playing even more, music was really the only other thing that I cared about in life besides trying to watch movies that I wanted to watch, even though I don't really care about movies now. So music was the long runner. And for me, at first it was Sierra, her 1-2 step, Cassie, I've been waiting, you wouldn't make a move, nah, baby, tell me how you like it. Anyway, but yeah, like that was my stuff, and my mama wouldn't let me listen to it, and I didn't ever want to write songs because I couldn't when I was younger. I didn't understand how they would be writing songs. Like, what are you saying? Like, where are you getting these stories from? What's happening here? That's why I wasn't able to write when I was younger. And it's because maybe maybe it was because those things hadn't been deep enough for me yet, but at the same time, I guess even now I don't really focus on writing lyrics either. It's me saying something, and it is a story because I told you about it. But when I was younger, I didn't want to do any of the writing, and I still don't. I can, and I have the full ability to, and it's even fun, but I do not write most of my music, or lyrics in general, because it's less fun if I choose to do that, and that's not what I felt like doing. Yeah. So when I was younger, I've always had that instant gratification type vibe, but it has gotten me everything that I wanted and needed in life the way that I've needed, and has taught me patience as well. So I find this funny. But as God, it does make sense that I've needed this extreme information. Like, I do live extremely. I've been looking at this on my eyelid for a while and I don't know what it is, y'all. So bear with us. Like, I'm with you. Like, what is it? Um, so my throat is a little dry, I'm not gonna lie to you. So I wanted to skip all of that writing ish. I didn't care. That's not what I was here for. I really hope you can hear me because I think the mic. Oh, there's two of them, so that does work. Excuse me. Coughs loudly into my. I'm sorry. My bad. Um. So when I thought about putting music out in my later ages, Because, when you think about stuff as a kid, I don't know how you feel because you really are human. And I recognize that some things are important to you. And I get this, and I've recognized that the only things that are important to me are things that I've been a part of when I was a kid. And that's what the world is about. You have to find out everything because if you don't, you really are going to be one sided, causing problems, shadow side, burnt out, and working for somebody whose foot is on your neck and a finger on the trigger and no patience. So, make sure you get like me. That's another reminder. But back to the album. Yeah, so I didn't see myself putting in any of the effort that artists normally put into it because the way they talk about it, it made me feel like it was a lot of unnecessary work and it kind of takes the fantasy out of it. And I didn't want to feel that way because my connection with it was completely um irrational in the first place if I would put it like that. Energy is rational and irrational. It just is what it is. And to understand the flows in which it comes and goes and exists and non-exists is such a pleasure, and it adds a lot of dimension to your life, and it takes a lot of the unnecessary dimension from your life because you really could be creating your own prison, your own hell. I'm gonna stop with that. Stop. But yeah, I just didn't see myself doing any of that. And so I didn't see myself being a celebrity if that was gonna be the case. That's not something that I tried to do when I was going through life. The whole reason I started dancing was because it was something that I wanted to do and it was interesting. And we had this dance class in high school. So that was how I got started in dancing, but it's not the first time. Video games with my friends that I met in 7th grade. Um, they had Dance Dance Revolution, DDR, and I loved that, and then like We Fit, moving your body around. I love stuff like that, and I love video games. So anything that was artistic and colorful, but I was in art class my second semester in 8th grade, I believe, or I might have taken that whole year. I'm not sure. And I was surprisingly very good at it. I never wanted to take it during that time because one, you have to buy a lot of equipment. You have to buy a fair amount of equipment. I don't remember how I got through that. I think most of the stuff I got was for free, but we didn't overdo it. I had everything I needed though. I don't quite remember though. But I didn't feel like I was lacking in that class, and that made me really happy. Um but I was really good. I like for me, I was very good. I was happy about that too. I was like, bro, I didn't even know I could draw an upside down horse. Stallion. Like I've never done that before. And all of the drawings and stuff that I've lost and had to throw away as what lost. Like, oh, shit. It's either got stolen or I had to throw it away in order to move forward in life. But um but um you know all of the stuff like anime books that I got from the library because they got damaged with water and I had to take them back because if I couldn't take them back, they were probably going to get thrown away because they couldn't go back in circulation. They got wet. Why? Because it rained in my home a lot. So I just said, can I keep them? And yeah, I had to pay the fine and I paid it. And then I had another fine because something else happened. But it was way cheaper and I paid it. So now I can check out things at the library again. I feel like that's been a karmic thing for me too. Like I've had to I've had to put real effort into being a good library patron cuz I feel like whatever karma like my human persona is like has whatever like I want to say created but no, it just happened like immediately from the tip top. Like I returned a book to the library and this person that he was my friend at the time, but this wasn't planned. It just happened as such. by by God's will. Yep. Anyway, I returned a book to the library, and um, it lo and behold, it was one of the only books that I didn't actually read. Like I was just like, I'm tired, and it's already time to turn it in. Like I kind of just because I had to walk to the library during that time. This was in eighth grade. And so I returned the book, and then I found I had a $75 fee on my card. Or no, there was something else. I forgot. No, it was that one. Yeah, it was that one. It was that one. I had a $75 fee on my card, and like we couldn't pay that, so I just stopped using my library card. It was perfectly fine. I watched all the anime that I wanted to watch in the library. I was good. Like I watched it all, so I'm good. Like I ain't got no reason to complain. God always does these things on time. Anyway, and so then I found out that the the boy that was my friend during that time, we just don't know each other at the moment. However, I feel like it was probably a really good thing that we got separated early in life, because emotionally I feel like our relationship was not as good as it would have been if it hadn't have been cut off. I think that is the best way to put that. Don't know how that goes forward, but I know for a fact that I'm glad that up until this point that I've lost friends when I've lost friends, and family members when I've lost family members, Tani included. I feel like it was very important, very very important. uh, that does not mean that you can do whatever you want with her. Anyway, but going back to what I was saying, um I got emotional a little bit when I started talking about her. So I didn't know what to do afterwards. I started seeing red for a little bit. I was I I try not to over stress it, because I don't like tilting things in unnecessary directions. I just know for a fact that things just better be in place correctly. Things better be set up correctly. Mhm. Cuz karma is not just, oh, you and me type thing. It's like it better be set up correctly. And if you get it, you get it. And if you don't, you better understand. So, back to what I was saying. I was talking about the album, but I know I was talking about something else that was equally important. Oh, art class, I suppose. Oh, the pictures that I was able to draw based off of art books that I was able to secure from the library. Oh, oh yeah, the boy stole the book from the library. Um and so after I checked it out, I suppose. I don't know how it got linked back to me and made that my problem, but that's what he said he did, and that's what happened on my card. But I know for a fact that I have no idea. Oh, but it was because we knew about the book. We didn't know about one another necessarily. Like I knew he had it at one point, but I didn't know he had like kept it. But it wasn't really that big of a deal to me, of course, because I had already read it and turned it in. And so he stole the book, and somehow that became my problem. And I mean, I guess it didn't really become my problem because I don't live in Fresno anymore. But yeah. And then going back to um, art class and the books and stuff, those are two different times. The art books were a couple of years ago, not even a couple of years ago, like a year ago or so. And I was drawing, and I was very surprised and impressed with my ability to draw anime characters or recreate anime characters, and also um, drawing backgrounds, and not like manga for like your manga type backgrounds, but for like me, what I'm gonna do if I'm, like blah blah blah, because y'all be using rulers and y'all be wanting these real straight lines, and like I also know how important it is for like depth and stuff. So I'm like, I know what I do has to make sense for me and the world that I'm presenting and whatnot. Because there are going to be so many animes when I get a chance to start on that. But I'm also, like still educating myself on that. But yeah, my ability to add different variations to whatever I was drawing, um, and make it my own instead of drawing it exactly like the person in the book had done it already, or drawing things that weren't meant to be traced or anything, because I wasn't tracing, I was drawing, freehanding actually. No like lines and stuff with the face, and like straight up, doing the thing. And did I like the differences? Did I like the dimensions? Did I like, oh, I would start shadowing in, like I was starting different like shot like I would how do I ew, I'm trying to draw on paper, but do you see any paper? But I would start shading in different parts of like the shadows instead of like actually drawing the features, because for me noses are a little bit difficult, because I always do something similar or something cute and button like, because my nose is fairly cute and button like, but also a little bit wide in its own profiles, but also cute and button like in those same profiles. And so I'm biased. And so I don't particularly like seeing other people's noses, different types of noses. And so when I started to recognize that that was a problem, I was like, how do people's noses normally look? I don't know. Because when I was younger, somebody would be like, oh, his nose is crooked. I don't like that. But I'm like, I don't get really what you mean. Because it's his face that I'm seeing. And I understand what it is that I admire about it. But like, what are you trying to say? So, like, let's just say I'm shallow, but like, I'm very educated and shallow. So that makes, but deep enough to go have gone swimming. But I wouldn't say that because, like, honestly, yeah, I feel like everybody has a really good, attractive face, but there are differences in the situation. I can't wait to really talk about that. Excuse me. Let's see. So I was good in art class, but it wasn't, I didn't want to be an artist, like, painting and stuff, because one, the artist is portrayed as someone that paints for a living. And I don't know how many people you really know that do this, because apparently a lot of people know a lot of people that do this, and I'm surprised. I've even gotten a painting bot from me on my journey for $250 off the rip. God fearing man. His name was Joseph. Good kid. If his name is Jacob, I'm gonna be so embarrassed. I'm pretty good at remembering people's names. And that has never been put to the test because I don't talk to anybody. So, but but I have not wanted to see that guy again, because the last time he know, I was Mary, Jesus's wife, and that was the journey. And then when he seen me again, I was Jesus. So I was just like, I don't think it's a good idea for him to see, like, because I didn't tell him that I was walking to go get food. So I wasn't taking the bus, but I was going down the bus situation. And he drives up and it's broad daylight. And he goes, Mia. And I, when I heard that, I was like, who the fuck? Like, huh? Like, because I don't know nobody sing. And so I was just like, my head just like turned, and I'm glad I'm so pleasant in general. And he just waves. I see this blonde boy just waving, And I remembered who he was immediately, and he's just, God bless you. He's like, and I was just like, thank you. Like, we had a sweet little exchange. I was happy about it. And I went on my merry way, as he did as well, because he was in a Jeep. It was a great interaction, and the people of the community were able to see that I am a woman of the high community as well, because people don't really know anything about me. So it was nice for them to see an exchange, because they're like, really, who the fuck are you? Like, like, we don't know you. We see you, we don't know you. And, obvious reasons, because you don't come and talk to me with nothing to say, with something to say. But at the same time, it's just like, they finally got to see at least one person having some feedback and actually being very positive about this feedback. Like, dude was at a red light about, like, this was a one way, like, this was a street, and there was a red light, and it turned red so that pedestrians could cross. And while that was happening, he got out of his Jeep and gave me attention, basically gave me positive attention, I should add, and with positive energy. So it was really nice. um so yeah, people do buy art, but me personally, I don't know about standing in a gallery going like, oh yeah, this is nice, yes, yes, the Mona Lisa. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm different now, so that's not true. But it's different when I see someone that did it and they may or may not be present, or like they're waiting for a certain type of feedback or something. Like, it's quite different. I'm more removed from like different types of art if I can't really feel the artist and them being there. Like, it's a different vibe. I don't know how to explain that too much. But art wasn't really something that I really wanted to do, but now I'm an artist and it's such a thing. And at the same time, wait for it, because I got a lot of artwork in the void. Like, it done been out there, and I still got some in here, and it's gonna grow. Now, going back to um so yeah, we'll just make this video a 2-hour video as such, because I'm sure I'll have a lot to say on the next half too. um But yeah, going back to school, I basically did not. I basically went into my interests in school primarily. Like, school was already difficult enough for me because I had to be there in general. And that in itself was the issue. I didn't care that I had fun with my friends. I didn't care that I got food there, because I sure didn't have food at home. I didn't care that, and which was a bigger problem for my mama than it was for me. I'll let you know that. And I did not care that, like, basically I had to be at school and do a bunch of stuff. I didn't really see my family too much because I remember being at school often, but not in a bad way. Like, I went to school on the bus, and that's how it be. And I wasn't neglected, so that's nice too. It's just, working household, single mom, and middle child, only daughter, with the realization that I'm not the only daughter to either one of my parents, but yet they want to treat me like this. I might be mad about something. I'm not entirely sure. Like, I've been saying that for the past couple days. Like, am I pissed off? Am I? So, next part. Rewinding it back some more. So basically, in school, when I'm picking classes and whatnot, I'm only picking things that I want to do throughout my life, basically. And even though I didn't want to do karate, karate chose me, and I ended up really liking it. And I quit when I finally had enough of putting my time there, because that was another thing too. Did not want to get up and go there. Like, it's just too much work. I enjoyed the people. I enjoyed my people, and I enjoyed my interactions with all of my instructors majority of the time. And I hated running, but I enjoyed getting something out of it if I were to go and end up running, because we didn't have to do it all the time. But I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm good. Like, I've grown up well, and I'm happy about it. Now, that being said, um I have chosen to always speak up when I don't like something, or I put myself in spaces that I like. period. And I've always been that way. And even if there was always something that I didn't like, I made sure to create what I did like. And that brings me back to the first point where we're talking about magic and sorcery, but we're also talking about music, putting out music and stuff. Um, there are things in the industry that are coming to light right now. I'm very happy that they're coming to light as they stand. I already said it was gonna come out, so I ain't really got nothing to say about nothing really. It is what it is. I told y'all this. But and yeah, and so I did everybody else, it seems. I'm watching clip after clip after, like they just be popping up like he predicted this. And I'm like, bro, get in line. You right. Like it just is what it is. Karma. Change your ways right now. But I digress for right now. So, when it comes to the industry and putting yourself out there, it is super important that I am who I am because when I put myself in myself, I'm able to be who I are without all of the extra backlash and business from other people that ain't got nothing to do with me. Being my own system and being my own person and being my own representative has definitely made me see exactly how others function around or about me and concerning me. I could have chosen the most perfect part in life, and I did, by the way. But if God willing, if I had to go the opposite direction and do something else, I would still be in a situation where somebody would try to put me on a hot stove because they just feel like putting me on a hot stove and I would be unhappy. So, me being who I am, I'm able to be me, right? Solid AF, right? And soft. I didn't have anything else to say, so I just kept it quiet. But since I am these things, it is easy for me to represent myself and not be hurt by others because I'm not dealing with anybody that is going to take away my freedom. I am able to exist how I'm going to exist. Now, there are steps you have to take to creating these things, but people always love to talk about and gratify, goals and taking steps to do such a thing. But yet, the people that end up having to take those steps are the people that people make fun of while they're taking said steps. And there's no patience for those people. I keep hearing these stories, and it's like you need to know when you're being taken over by, I would say, the enemy, but by people that are causing you to kick people out of your life just because you're afraid of being better with them. So when artists go and put themselves out there, they are relying on other people around them to give them validation because they're not validating themselves. And, the best artists are the people that are validating themselves. And it sucks when I hear an artist that I can tell that is validating themselves and then they say an answer like, why do you love music? And then, or why do you put out music? Or blah, blah, blah. And then they'll say something that you can tell clearly doesn't represent what they feel because they're more selfish about it inherently. But because they want to please people, they said it differently and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that was a dry ass answer. I don't even care anymore. I don't care. Like, it just made me not want to hear anybody's answers anymore. So I appreciate when things are authentic so much. Um, so me being me and me also keeping the vulnerability, being vulnerable caught me a lot of bacon. See, I love that line so much. Real talk. It's real. You have to learn how to be vulnerable within yourself. Mostly. I really don't care as much if you see me as a big teddy bear or not. Because the thing is that people think I'm cold hearted, but yet they'll use my heart and my love against me. How does that make sense? Make it make sense. Yeah, you must can hate me because you're paying attention to yourself and not paying attention to me, or you're so pretty that other people are looking at you and, you know, I can tell that you don't care that they like you, but I can tell that you're flirting back with them because you're so pretty. And even if you're not trying, I don't care. You're so pretty. You're still flirting with them. And they think they got a chance and whatnot. But you know what? At the same time, I am upset about this because of the love you give me. I am upset about this because the attention that you give me. I am upset about this because behind closed doors, this person that I see with me is other people getting that. But if you see it not happening like that, but if it's different, you know, it's good to pay attention to who and what you are. It's important to pay attention to all these things. So when it comes to representing who I am and putting it out there as an artist, I make sure that it is about me. And then when I put it out there, I want it put out with good intention so that when the world takes it, I want them to do happy things with it, things that make me happy, really, things that make my art happy. Because just like my art and the things that I'm putting out, you are a creation as well of mine. And it's something that I care about. Now, that also being said, I've already said my thought processes on the human creations, if anything. But I've also said my ideas about stationary things and the creation of these things as well, even though we are all one of the same. And I do mean that of myself. Me being me is just me. And that's really the high point. So when it comes down to it, um, when it comes down to it, you can't be putting out music to be topping charts. You can't be putting out music to be the best in the game. You can't be putting out music to be relevant all the time and whatnot. That just has to be included in what you're doing. Your whole reason. Because then you're going to have the. Oh my God. I'm not even going to name names because I don't really know a lot of different artists, to be honest. Because every time I learn about a new artist, I like them enough to have enjoyed the moment and then I move forward on. There are not many people that stick with me when they make music. And there are people that do stick with me when they make music, but I can tell that there's a different path that they got to take until I start listening to all of their music. Or sometimes the music that they're making is for a different timeline of mine, for me when I get there, a different time. You get what I'm trying to say. So I just got to know where I'm at. Like, I did not used to, I've already said this, like Florence and the Machine, I did not used to understand exactly what it is that I was supposed to understand. But I didn't listen to her music a lot. All I heard was Kiss with a Fist, and it was on the radio, and it was a cut version. I don't like your radio edits, Florence. I just want to share that as a fan. I hate them, actually. Actively. I'll be singing with you, and I'll be excited because I'm like, ooh, which version is this? Because like there are many different versions of different Florence songs, and I'll be surprised to find out which one it is. But then there'll be one where they'll take out the best parts of her solo. You know what I said? Please stop. Um, the best part of her solos, basically. Like, there's a part in is it Breath of the Light? I think that's the name of the song, Breath of the Light. And it was for the Snow White and the Huntsman. You know what I'm trying to say. And it was a music video, but the music video and the original song are two different sounds. Like, they're cut. Like, it's cut. And I'm just like, I don't know how you could have done it better, to be honest, because it was for the song, for the video. But like the original song, like, you cut out you cut out some, and that's another part of why I put my music the way that I did too. I'm like, there are parts in there like I don't want to cut out anything either. Like, I know that this sounds chaotic and it sounds harmonizing at the same time. It feels wild. I'm getting emotion out of it. I'm keeping it. I don't care what it sounds like to other people because that's not what I'm portraying here. Like, and I'll explain that by saying specifically, I've done my best to listen to it through different mediums to make sure that it processes correctly. But the use of the lyrics, the use of parallel thinking, and the use of patience, I would say, is needed when listening to my things. However, um, I want you to also hear channeled messages for yourself as well. It's okay if you start thinking about other stuff while you're listening to the music. What was the music adding to that? Or what was it about the music that sent you there? Because I find myself doing that a lot. And at that same point, I'm like, no, you have to actually listen to the song because it'll be at the certain parts of songs. And it's not because I fell off of listening, it's because I got so turned up that I got into a trance and I was thinking about something and I was happy about it, but I was also paying attention because I'm watching the thing go by as it's playing and stuff. And so you just have to know what your purpose is. What do you want to do? And if you don't know what that is for you and you just want to create something that makes you happy, do that. Don't change that plan. Oh, this looks like it might be a little bit difficult, but it might be something that I want to do. I'm going to try it. It wasn't something that I liked. I'm going to do it again. I don't know why I'm doing this again. Oh, now this is what I do. Don't be that artist. We don't like your shit. We don't. There are people that will feed into that, but it ain't here. We'll be like, oh, okay. I'm gonna go listen to somebody else now. Not because we hate you, but because, that would be the moment of falling off, but that's only falling off if you feel this way, and most likely you will if you're not operating from ego, like in a bad way, in a bad way. So, which, good or bad, like I said, it's up to you. So when I was a kid, a lot of things have, planned themselves. I've always been an underground performer for myself. Always, 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 always. I remember this. And dancing and singing and doing all this stuff for myself. Like, I don't know how much my mama and brother seen of these things, throughout my life. I wasn't really afraid of doing these things around them. However, most of the time, I was always by myself, going out, like going off. Whatever I was gonna do, just do in it. So, that being said, remember, take it back to when you were a kid. You know, even if it was a fleeting moment, a fleeting emotion. Remember how you felt. What kinds of things made you feel like you wanted to put anywhere in the world, wherever? Um, you know, like my interests that I've been honing throughout my whole life all of a sudden became super important, which was why I was super confident about being a star. That was why I was super confident about being a hero on my path, because I only got more valiant. This is how I've been who I've been throughout my life. I've created an inside that actually fuels worlds, not just singular, plural, and the idea of such. And sometimes that's a lot of work, so I have to contain myself. So it makes me happy that my childhood self is always pleasurable with me, because me and this past version of self is also very current. Um, be that type of artist, because when you get older and when your Saturn return hits you, it's not even simply about Saturn returns, but since I did speak about it, and it has definitely come up in this last clip, and it's a big life turn. That, midlife crises and shit like that. Those are because you're not living your life right. And when you are living your life right, you'll still get those, but you have to put yourself at ease. And so, that being said, when your Saturn return comes around, how happy is your childhood self with your current self? Are they the same person? Are they one? You know, that's a big question. Are they one? And did you win? Mm. Did it go in? Are you happy about where you're going? Oh my God. So I think that we may end with that. So yeah, that's why that is also a huge reason why I'm very confident about my magical abilities as well, because I never stopped training for these either. I've always been ready. Like I said, like stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. I find it funny though that because of that, that is the main reason why my physical world decided to really just do the absolute most. It's like, okay, stay ready because you better be ready. Makes sense to me. And so at this point in my life, I'm happy that I'm the one carrying myself and that I'm at the mercy of myself as God should be. And that is so pleasant. Yeah, no, God shouldn't be at the mercy of humans. Why? Why? God at the mercy of my own creations. And that is why I also carry myself with grace as well. And why there's so many animes and movies where people don't keep their wits about them when they gain power and they end up waking up one day and being like, oh my God, I don't want to be that guy. Because I wake up every day and I'm like, I'm so happy I live how I live. And that story that I shared before with the guy who's seeing me at the bus stop. And the thing is that people think weird things when I'm standing at the bus stop. I'm not even always standing at the bus stop. Sometimes I'm sitting at the bus stop, but sometimes I'm not going to sit at the bus stop because the bus stop is looking like I shouldn't be sitting at the bus stop, so I'm not sitting at the bus stop. But anyway, since I'm waiting for the bus, I was by the bus stop and I was standing next to the bus sign. He was sitting at the bus stop with another female and they were eating. I don't know, maybe they were taking a smoke break too because there was no smoking in the hotel I was at, so I don't care where they was staying at, but I ain't seen nobody when I was in there and I was happy about that. But when it comes down to it, I don't know why you're sitting on the bus stop bench, but I'm here to catch the bus because they left before the bus got there. But I had appeared about 3 or 4 minutes before the bus popped up, so maybe they didn't even know that the bus was on its way. And so when this person is seeing me doing this stuff, like just standing there, basically, and it's not the only time that this has happened specifically in general, but in this context, yes, I'm just standing there, and this person is, viewing me living my life, and I'm happy that I'm living my life right. Period. So I'm happy that I wake up every day knowing that I'm me and that I'm actually me and that I couldn't be any more free than being me and free. Also, if this video is too long, with the other one too long too, like I don't know how long videos can be, but I've made 2-hour videos before, right? Why am I asking you? This is not even going to be posted until the album actually is about to come out. I'm still deciding when I'm going to put this video out, because then that's enough of the PR right there. And the other ideas, I'm not going to tell you about it, but it might be under this video. I don't know what we're about to do. I know the idea, but I don't know how it's about to go. What is PR? Product review, ain't it? I mean, technically, I told you what the quality is. I told you what's going in it. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears. I recommend it if you're on a budget. Yeah, and buy my album. I put a lot of everything into it, and oh yeah, some of the songs are short, but I've already told you I'm not about lengths and stuff. And each song, when created, it's not about it being lengthwise, especially because it was just me making the song in general and it happened to be that short. Like some of the songs, I thought they were longer than that, but they weren't. And then I thought some songs were shorter than they were, and they were not. I'm like, oh, I forgot that was even on there. But I was happy about it being on there. Like these types of things. So it's just as natural of a flow as the album itself. I believe that there's a good flow with it. I believe that it showcases just enough of what I want to showcase at the moment, especially because at the moment, the cover, the cover, I wanted to put words on it. But I believe it speaks more that there are no words on it because whatever comes after is going to be basically its successor. Yeah, basically. So it's going to be the next, So since the world started with nothing, I am so happy to present the great nothing. The only reason this video is working now is because I am editing this video because I gotta put the videos together. Well, I have put the videos together. By the time you're watching this, because that's the point. All right. I had to get myself ready before I can do anything for anybody else. Now, in this case, the only reason I'm doing this is because I want to do it anyway. So, the statement. I'm gonna put this. Turn off. Excuse me. All right. Let me. Oh, I meant to get that. I'm gonna set up the camera, and we will officially be started. All right. So, I wanted to film everything that I'm doing in this moment right now because I wanted to film earlier, but I had to keep pushing time back a little bit to make sure to put myself first. And I'm not going to get into that right now because we want to stay more on the first topic of the video, which is about the album. Now, I did a whole bunch of stuff. I'm watching anime and I was eating. So pretty much talked about like the things that really were important to me in the first um videos, because that was when I was like, let's see, hold on, I hope you can hear me well. I wanted you to see more of me, but I want the mic to be able to hear me without me having to yell or change my volume too much. So, gotta make do. So, you know what? First things first, what I wanted to do in the last video that I wasn't able to do in the last video, because we never got to it. And it wasn't actually, it wasn't time. I'm happier. I'm smiling more right now. Simply because I already did it. Like I ain't gotta worry no more. I ain't gotta work on nothing no more. I ain't gotta feel a certain way about anything anymore, which I'll talk about a little bit, but not too much, because that's not where it's at. But I want it to be said. So we are celebrating our first debut album. Now, I do say first debut album because I have plans. So, you may not see certain things a certain way, but I don't give a damn. And light it up. So, so much happened. So much happened since the last parts of the video. And I am gonna talk a little bit about that as well. We don't have much time, so we'll see how this goes. I want to do everything that I want to do in this video. So, what happened afterwards? So I was still working mainly on my health. I'm still working on that as well, but it's not working on it as well. It's not that big of a focus as it was before. And that's wonderful, because that's something that means that I've gotten into a better groove for myself at the moment, and that makes me happy, because a lot of it was me depending on certain outside movements that I do in order to, like, okay, I'm gonna put that into context because I want to move past it instead of talking about it more than I want to in this moment. But it is a part of codependency that we do that we don't know specifically what we're being codependent on. Um, for me, sometimes I like to have things. Oh, it actually it's very it's actually a very distorted feminine type of thing to make to actually have. It's basically like when you have a helping animal. You are codependent on on the helping animal, and then at some point you're gonna be like, well, we're helping each other. You guys are codependent on each other, and that's not a good existence to have. There's more for this relationship. But I've been kind in not calling those types of things out, because when we grow up in this world, that is what we want. We were taught this and everything like that, but animals are not. They're not our codependency animals. They are very emotional themselves. They have their own lives. They have their own things. We're not gonna get into that. The main point of me bringing this up is that give me a second. I need to remember why I brought it up. um Oh, basically, when I, as I've grown up in the world, I've always had to, I've always had something with me, like a backpack or um, books if I needed books or something, like even shoes and scarves and stuff like that. Having things around you, it creates a type of peace for you, especially when you leave the house. And so sometimes that can be like a stuffed animal of sorts. It can be an animal, or it can be a person, your significant other, the people that you choose to spend the most time around, because you decide that those are your friends, even though they may not be. Um, those types of situations. So for me, um I don't use it as like a wall. However, I could have done so at one point, and I had no shame in doing so in the past when I needed to, because I only did it when I didn't want to be around the other people I was around. So if I happened to had to be in that space, that's what I would do. Like headphones, like that barrier, that energy that says like I've got this. This is my home, and this is what I'm gonna do. That in yourself is you. However, that extends you is you. You're extending it right from you. So it's different how I connect with these things. So for me, when I was walking around with my stuff all the time, I would have that stuff. So it's an extension of me. Like, so when I'm moving with it. And even though we're our own personality, even though we are one unit, I'm moving with other parts of my crew basically around me. But in this space that I've created, I've had to recreate being a normal citizen in the space that I've been also doing something more creative as well. One aspect of life will always affect another aspect of life if it's not lined up correctly. So whenever I had to leave the house, that created some type of issue where I had to make sure that I was comfortable outside of the house as well without my stuff, because my energy levels also really depend on what I'm also doing, or what kind of energy I have to output in order to move myself around or to complete a task. And if the output is not needed past a certain point that I'm used to, like I'm used to maybe not feeling my best self when it comes to like stamina or body wise, because I go through these things a lot, then I would normally have, let's see, let's check the time. I gotta check out in 30 minutes. uh, I would have that energy output that would cause my energy to move forward a lot too, which is why you elevate higher when you live outside, because you're doing something, even if you're just walking. So when I'm walking by myself without any of that stuff, and I just have my purse and I feel comfortable within my person, I move quite a bit different. My personal space is quite a bit different, but it also is a more fluid energy, and that also is more fragile and more vulnerable. And so I don't necessarily have to put out so much masculine energy, because I don't have to really do anything to move my body around anymore. And that also allows me to eat up the energy that I already like, that I'm also trying to recover in the same space. And then also you have to wait for the bus. And so that also means that I'm susceptible to other people's energies just by them being there, even if they're not there, because at some point they will start flocking to me if I'm outside where they can for any amount of reason. Yes, these things are normal, but you don't pay attention to your life enough for me to actually help you learn more with that. So you'll have to come back and learn that on your own. However, so I was mainly having to focus on being less dependent on being a rogue rather than a person that maybe even bonds with others. It's not something that I fight with, but being in a different space and energy allows me to also be a lot kinder towards women as well. They're a lot more kinder to me as well. It's different. And so I have to reciprocate that energy as well. So I'm just like, I have to focus on these things as well. That is more important than me actually making the album that I already made. But the work that I'm actually putting into it is all of this stuff that I have in my daily life that I'm actually putting it out now. Because you can put the work into something, but then now when you put it out, it's like, okay, well, that's another fluid energy. A lot of emotions come with that too. Um, like, I loved what I did, but when I put it out to other people, that is when you start thinking about like what do they think about it, even if I don't care. But it's, I want you to like it, so that does mean I care. But what does that mean for everyone else? That has its own boundaries in it, and I've already created that within myself and otherwise. However, going forward, my main view was, I see the beauty in this, and that is where it is most important. However, it's wild how I see this. I see my music. I've created a lot of emotions with this stuff, and I find it very interesting. Um, but it makes me happy that I was actually feeling everything that I was going through with this situation. And even if it wasn't, none of those tracks were made as tracks, they were made as songs. And so the number that they became, the number, they were all synchronistic. And it's perfect because each number is quite different. So even if the numbers are different, and because they got added, so I didn't want to I didn't want to mess up my track order, even if that was the name of them as well. I get creative with my names. I had to switch around the lyrics as well. Not switch around the lyrics. I had to switch around how I wrote the lyrics because I put a lot of detail in them, and I guess people don't like that. And I do understand quite a bit when it comes to like synced lyrics, syncing the lyrics to the songs. I believe maybe it was a little bit easier because they have a format for them that they want. However, I don't think that's gonna make it the most easy for you to understand what the heck's going on in the songs. However, I prepared you for that, and I'm happy about it. And and there are a lot of things that really couldn't have been like. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. There's the eighth track. It's called Level Difficult. That one really lives up to its name. It was really difficult for me to write the lyrics down, even if I could hear them and understand them and stuff. When I was doing them individually, I had to keep coming back to that song. Like that was one of the last songs that I finished writing the lyrics, like putting the lyrics on the because there's a lot going on with it, but it's so good that it was things going on with it to the point where I'm like, okay, I just want you to hear it yourself because I think it would be better than me trying to help you with the lyrics. But if I don't put the lyrics, you'll probably not really pay attention too much to what's going on in the song. And you can do whatever you want when you listen to it. I just want you to enjoy it. And if share it with a friend, make sure that they put it on their playlist. Oh yeah. So what we're gonna start doing here, because I don't know how much I explained it, but a lot of, oh yeah, and then my phone went out. My phone service went out, and when I got here on my first day, and that was the next day after the last video, and that was me. I was supposed to put things through on that day. It's not like I didn't have internet because I have another phone, which that service is off now, but now I have this one, and this one connects to everything that I'm using right now. And so now I'm having a little bit more of a better experience when it comes to um, equipment, and it's a better phone. It's a Motorola. These are supposed to, okay, back in the day, Motorola was, like Nokia, basically, something of the sort. It at least went through the same type of work and lived. So, um, but that was before the touch screen. So I don't know. I don't know. And I know the more expensive ones are pretty much more brickish, like, but I don't know. So I'm excited. And I'm already very, very impressed. I'm impressed with this new era as well. A lot has been very well to me. Okay. So, um, I wanted to do a little bit of a I wanted to do a CD release party. However, it kind of defeats the purpose if because I was going to do that before when I was posting to put my album out, it said I will not share certain things, blah 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 blah. And I can't really word for word tell you what it was, but I'm not gonna lie to you. My mind just said, all right, let's just switch it up so that for the first time I don't mess nothing up, and then for the next time we'll see what I'm gonna do for something else, do something different. We'll do whatever we want, right? So for this, I wanted to do a release party. Did not think that it was a good idea to play the tracks right now anyway. So I'm glad I don't really have that much time for that. I also didn't feel like this video needed to be too long because I said a lot in the last part of it that made me happy. Also, they and themselves are their own content. Yeah, damn. And um in this moment I want to try something different, and by try something different, if it just really means we're just going to do something different. You heard? So first off, I want to do this. I keep wanting to not put the phone right here so that like I don't just simply because I don't want to like make you feel like I'm filming you. Do you get like you're in person or something? So considerate. But ooh, I don't have stories that I don't want to tell, so I don't have a story to tell. But the only reason I'm not telling the story is because I feel like it was done intentionally. That's why a lot of the stories that I've not told you is because my energy said I don't really want to deal with it because I believe they did it just so that I have something to say or remember by, and it was a negative way. So I just omit it in that way. But should it become important to tell, then it becomes something to say. Pick and choose. But this one I'm just saying specifically is not omitted. Oh, I was like, did I click on the wrong app? I don't remember ever really getting ads in BandLab. Go away. Arigato. But yeah, even if you're a kid, you're not omitted from karma. I think I did say a little bit about this. If not, I meant to say it. No, I didn't. Why would I meant to say it if I didn't say it? Um, what I was actually about to say was I said it in the energy to that person, and they know very much so. However, yeah, no, just because you're a kid does not mean that you're omitted from karma. Also, it's not why I'm not telling nobody about it. So, but at the same time, because they wanted me to do something about it or say something about it and put them out there like 5 seconds of fame type of thing, those people don't get talked about. Why did this come up? A lot has been talked about apparently because it's like a full blown message is coming out. Shoot, it's like must be the weed talking. No, that's straight up a message. That I straight up was like must be the weed talking. Like dang, somebody must have redid something they shouldn't have did, and it was probably the same person I'm talking about. She owes me money, but the thing is, I'm gonna get it whether you bring it or not. um, going back to going back to the intention. Um, so instead of a release party, we are going to create another song in this video instead. And since we don't have time for it to be the longest session to begin with, or we won't have time to play around with it at all, I'm gonna do two versions of this song. The one that we're gonna do right now is gonna be the one that we're gonna do together. It'll be a lot more like this, like how we're gonna make it, basically. Just understand, right? And the next time you're going to see the song is going to be very different, and it will be interesting, is all I will say. I will talk about it more if I decide to talk about it more. So, but just know that it is what we were going to do. Also, now it started taking different forms, so it may not sound like anything like the original to begin with, but it is what it is. I don't have any ideas right now. I'm kind of wanting the sound to stop first. I don't know if you can hear it. It's not really that loud, but it might pick up. All right. And of course, somebody started talking. We're still going to take that into account, though. All right. So let's see. No, turn that off. I like that my settings stay if you use your phone or something, but the metronome just kills vibes for me. hmm. That's not very loud. Okay, hold on. I'm just replaying it. I recorded on the same line, so I gotta do it again. I get too excited and I forget to do some things sometimes. I know what I said. And all of a sudden now I want to act like I don't know how to add a track. I don't, apparently. Give me a second. Oh, that's why. It was full screen of one track. And now it's full screen of another track. I don't like that too much. This should work. Wait, which one I clicked? Whatever. Let's start over. Sometimes I get excited and forget to like not hit the record button as I'm starting a new sound after I already did it. Hold on, let me see what it sounds like. Alright, it sounds pretty dope. It's coming together. It does too long. Alright, hold on. Please stop. Okay. We have that part. Play. Or no. Ooh. Ooh. Let's see how that sounds. Okay. All right, this is probably gonna be one of the last lines we hear. We're gonna play this back. I'm gonna add a little bit of something to it, and then I gotta start like finalizing my departure because I don't like to just leave. I have a routine. I hope they know that. Yes, I'm gonna check out at 10:30. Okay. All right. So we're gonna finish this part, and then I'm gonna do what I gotta do. I couldn't find the words to say. I almost said gonna clock out. I don't work here. All right, let's start over. Na 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 na. Okay. All right. Because I said I'm gonna do it, we'll do one more line. But I feel like I want to add a lot of other stuff to it before it sounds like something that I'm gonna do for sharing purposes. But I already see where I'm gonna take it. But I don't really have time to do that and show that to you. But I hope you could hear it. All right, ready? Okay, hold on. Ooh, ooh, forgot I did that, so this one might be a little off. But I know which one to delete if I don't like it. Or I might like it or figure out if I want to do something with it. Plot twist, I don't normally delete anything. However, that's not true these days. Sometimes I do take it out and I'm like, you know what, it could be better. Oh. All right. All right. Sound like she cooking some. So you'll know. You won't know the name of it because it ain't got one. I'm gonna just save this. You know what? It might just be called Untitled. I'm gonna be honest with you. Okay. Okay. I had a lot of fun. By my album.